Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today, and welcome to Salesforce Release Readiness Live, the Admin Preview, broadcasting to you from my apartment here in San Francisco. My name is Ella Marks, and I'm on the Admin Relations team, a team that's dedicated to your success as an awesome admin. To help you be successful with the Winter 21 release today, we're going to dive into some of the top highlights in this release specifically for admins. Now, I'm so excited because we have a rock star lineup of Salesforce product experts and evangelists here today who are going to do that deep dive with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for this broadcast today, we will all be broadcasting to you from our homes, and we'll hear from our product experts one after another, and we'll be doing Q&A at the end of the session. So if you have questions while you're watching these demos, please go to the Trailblazer community or on Twitter and share your question using the hashtag SalesforceLive. Admin team member Rachel Mincarelli will be monitoring the community and on Twitter to make sure that we can get to your questions at that Q&A segment at the end of the broadcast. With that, I want to make one reminder to please make all purchasing decisions based on products and features that are currently available. We'll be talking about the Winter 21 release today, but our experts may mention some roadmap items, so please keep this in mind. With that, let's get to the good stuff. There is so much jam-packed into this session today. I am so excited. So let's talk about our agenda. First, Aubrey is going to walk us through Lightning email templates. We'll hear from Jason about Salesforce Flow. Bhaskar will cover Einstein bots. We'll hear from Merwan and James about Salesforce Anywhere. And Jillian will wrap us up with some admin features and highlights, and I think everybody will be really excited about it. Don't forget, at the end of that, we'll be doing our live Q&A, so make sure you ask those questions on Twitter and in the community. With that, I'm going to stop talking. Let's go to the good stuff. I'm going to pass it over to Aubrey to get started with Lightning email templates. Take it away, Aubrey.
Thanks a lot, Ella. Hi, everyone. My name's Aubrey, and I'm a product manager on the email templates team, and I'm super pumped to show you all what's new in the world of email. So let's get into it. For those of you who have seen this amazing idea from Steve, you'll be happy to know we're finally delivering this to GA, retiring almost 6,000 points of idea exchange. We're bringing content creation to the Power of Platform with our new email template builder. It's a modern, sleek, no-code, drag-and-drop email building experience that is built on the platform, so it provides a level of familiarity to our admins who already use other builders across Salesforce like the App Builder. This new builder also provides consistency across your org. With sales, service, and marketing all using the same builder, your emails will be consistent and branded across your organization. Finally, it provides immediately responsive and out-of-the-box email components that allow you to design with confidence and with ease for all scenarios. So how do you all get access? Well, it's super easy. You don't need any add-ons and you don't need to contact Salesforce. The only thing you need to do is enable the Access Drag and Drop Content Builder user permission to whoever you want to be able to create email templates in this new builder. Then you're good to go. That was easy. So let's stop talking and start showing. Let me take you into the demo. So here we are in our sales app, where I can navigate to Email Templates tab to see all of my email templates. I'm going to click on and edit our newly created Annual Customer Conference email template, and here we can see the new Edit and Builder action appear on the top right. So let's go ahead and edit this email template for our Annual Customer Conference. Clicking the Edit and Builder button will launch the user into this drag and drop experience where they can design beautiful emails without needing to write any custom code. On the left-hand side, I can see the components that are available for me to use out of the box. And if it looks familiar, that's because it's consistent and built on the platform, so it looks like our other builders across Salesforce, like the App Builder. On the right-hand panel, you will see the email template details. Here you can see the email template subject and description, which can be set on the record home. Here, I can also add a background image to my email to make the content stand out more. I can do this by pasting in an external image URL or uploading or selecting from Salesforce files. Here, I'm going to select a background I've already uploaded to Salesforce files. Next, I'm going to add a header image at the top of my email by dragging on an image component. Again, I'm going to add in an image from Salesforce files. I can also set alternative text for the image, which will be read by screen readers, and also set a destination URL for the image if the user clicks on that image in the email, all of which I have the ability to insert merge fields for personalization. Now I'm going to add some text to my email by dragging on the rich text component. I can personalize this content using merge fields written in the HTML merge language. I'm going to personalize this by entering the recipient's first name and then adding some welcome text. I can also then change the font colors, styles, sizes, and insert inline images and links. We also have the ability to set certain components as editable or not once they are inserted by a user in the composer. If you don't want anyone to be able to change this rich text in the composer, set the Allow Changes in Email toggle to Inactive. If you're a little more code savvy, you can also add snippets of HTML to your email using the HTML component. I'm going to add in a little snippet I have here. You can format and then work with the HTML on the property panel and expand for more room. If we want to do some layouting and formatting, we can drag on the row component. The row component allows you to adjust the amount of columns from 1 to 6. It will dynamically adjust the widths, but you can also set them manually as fractions of 12. Padding can also be set here between columns. Now let's add one of the most important parts to our email, a call to action. Inside this row component, I can do this easily by dragging on a button component. Then I can set the button name and also the button redirect URL. Then I can configure all of its properties to make it visually appealing and consistent with the rest of my template. So let's change both the font and the sizing to the same we use for the rich text. Let's also update the color and corner radius and the button size, as well as the button position to make the spacing consistent. I can also preview how my content will look if loaded on mobile. It is completely responsive, as you can see the stacking of the HTML and the row components. My content now looks good, so let's save it and take a look at it by going to the record home where we can see a preview. We're now able to see a preview of our beautiful template on the record home. If we'd like to send, we can go to a contact, insert the template into the composer, preview to ensure the merge fields are working, and then send the template. Perfect. We can't wait to see all of the beautiful templates that our awesome admins are going to create. So now that you saw the product that is going GA, what's next? Well, we want to listen to our admins and trailblazers and deliver on this next idea, the ability to use Lightning email templates and email alerts. With Safe Harbor in mind, we'll be delivering this idea in the Spring 21 release. I hope you all enjoyed these amazing new Lightning email templates. Up next is one of the all-time favorite admin topics, automation. So take it away, Jason.
Thanks, Aubrey. How's it? And welcome to Flowland. As many of you know, I'm Jason Teller, and I'm here to talk about Flow. All right, we've got a lot to show you in Flowland today, so I'm just going to jump right on into it. I like to call our Winter 21 release Builder Wonderland, and that's because there's just so many different goodies we can share with you for Winter 21. The first big one is our auto layout mode. Auto layout will basically, instead of having to drag and drop all these elements in our freeform mode, you can now go ahead and use auto layout and press on the little pluses, and those will go ahead and let you select which element you want. This is great because it allows you to build out the flow piece by piece. It's something that we think will make flow building a lot easier, so we're really excited to announce that in our Winter 21 release. The second big announcement is around triggers, triggers, triggers. We've got a really big trigger, and that's the delete trigger, coming out in our Winter 21 release. I know people want it because it was 24,000 idea exchange points wanting that delete trigger. So here you have it, delete triggers for flow. We also get advanced criteria and operators for flow so that you have entry criteria for your triggers. That way, you are not only going to be able to specify which trigger you want for the trigger, but this will also make sure that the flow only runs when those criteria are fulfilled, and we give you advanced operators, like OR for example, with the criteria to actually make the selection of the records easier. And then we also provide you with related record info inside that flow as well, So you can go ahead and take the record that triggered the flow and go to the related record that actually gathers that information as well. And then finally, debug is what I call the gift that keeps on giving. We've got a really, really cool feature here, an on-canvas visual path for the debugger. When you run a flow, you can actually see the path that the flow actually took through highlighting on the canvas itself. This is a really cool feature, and we're very excited to be able to show that to you in the demo in a minute. And then finally, a lot of people were requesting the ability to debug as a user, and you can do that now when you have to run the debugger. You can pick the user you want, which makes sure you can run through the debug mode as that particular user, which includes all the permissions that they have. That way you know exactly how that flow will actually behave in production. So enough talking, let's go ahead and take a look at the demo. Okay, so I'm going to start with the auto layout mode. And so basically, if I look here and click on a record triggered flow, you'll be able to see that I get to choose freeform or auto layout. When I click auto layout, you'll notice that the elements in the palette aren't there anymore. And that's because I can go ahead and pick them in each one of the nodes that I want to add here. I have a couple shave ice combo flows here so that we can show you some of this additional functionality. Here's a record after save flow. If I click on edit, here you can now see that we actually have conditional logic. So this could be and, it can be or, it could be custom, whatever logic you want, including the or logic there. And in addition, we have the ability, which you had in Process Builder, to update the records only when a record is updated to meet the condition requirements and not every time that the records are updated. This is very cool functionality, and I also want to point out that we have now what we call pills, so that for any one of these particular variables, we show the label for you here, so that it makes it much easier to understand that particular value. So in this particular flow, we'll go ahead and update the dessert choice to basically say, sour plum juice really? On the dessert choice when it's actually triggered with the criteria that I mentioned, which is to say it's sour plum juice as well, only when we're actually changing it to update to the criteria. The other really cool flow I want to show here is a delete triggered flow. So basically, if you select the record is deleted, you can go ahead and trigger record on delete. In this case, we're going to go ahead and delete the ice source on the account. So if you look here, it says what conditions are met, and as I pointed out, you can go to the related record for the triggering record. So when I go to account here, I can look up ice source, which is actually the related record, and use that ID. I can not only delete the original record, but the related record as well, triggering off this particular delete trigger. Let's go ahead and see what that actually looks like. Here you can see I've got a record. I'm going to go ahead and make an update to it. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Halpia ice cream. Save it. Nothing happens basically, because even though the criteria for sour plum juice is picked, nothing's actually going to show up here. So if I go ahead and change my shave ice selection, for example, this time when I move away from sour plum juice to none, but now I'm going to go back to sour plum juice, which basically means I've updated it to actually show the sour plum there, which should trigger the trigger on the flow. And as we can see here, sure enough, it goes sour plum. Really? It actually worked exactly as designed. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and delete this particular account. As I mentioned, it's the ice source that we care about. So let's see. We've got our Fiji ice source here. It is actually related on this particular account. It's a related record. So if I delete the account, the related record needs to go as well. And as you can see here, when I delete the actual account, the related record disappears as well when I delete the account. I can't see it, but it actually went away. So finally, I want to talk about our debug functionality. If you actually take a look here and I click on debug on canvas, I can run the flow as another user, as I mentioned before. So this time I'm going to go ahead and pick Cat Lawrence as my user, and I can run it in rollback mode, which is something we introduced last release. And finally, I'll give it an ID to run through. And here we go. Let's run that flow. And as you can see here, not only do I get the debug log information, but I also get the path visually highlighted that it actually went through. Very, very cool functionality for debug. So that's it for the demos, and with that, I'm going to hop on back to my slides. A couple flow tips when it comes to record triggers flows. It's only when a record is updated to meet the condition requirements, and that's with an S. So in the quote or cases that we are now allowing you to do. It would actually meet the requirement for one of them before, and then you update and meet the other one, it still meets the requirements. So actually, you have to get it to not meet any of the condition requirements and then meet one of them in the update to actually have it trigger, which is basically what I did in the demo. Another great addition we have now is everything you ever wanted to know about triggers but were afraid to ask, also known as our Architect's Guide to Building Record-Triggered Automation. So check out that link down there. We've got a lot of great information. We get a lot of questions about the record triggers and how to build them. It's actually inside of that Architect's Guide, so definitely check that out. And as a bonus, we also have an Architect's Guide to Building Forms, so that you should check that out as well, and that's the link right here. Some more highlights for Lightning Flow and Next Best Action in our winter release. I covered a lot of these, so we're actually also supporting global variables and a lot more. It just doesn't fit in the slide, so please read the release notes for additional features that we have. For approvals, we actually now have conditional visibility for submit for approval through dynamic actions, which is also very cool. And for Next Best Action, we provide HIPAA compliance now, as well as event-driven recommendations for Service Cloud Voice. And Einstein recommendation builder integration as well. So lots of action happening with Next Best Action, so I highly recommend you check it out. Finally, if you want to learn more about Flow, there's always Trailhead, admin tutorials, and we have our Flow templates and solutions on the App Exchange. In fact, the demo I did for the debugger was actually one of our templates called All Onboarding. If you want even more, you should check out the Flow Release Readiness live webinar, which is on September 23rd, to get an even more depth on the current Winter 21 release. But wait, there's even more. We're introducing, now this is really exciting, we're having multi-column screens as part of our release in Winter 21. What are multi-column screens? Well, it's actually something that I've actually been asked about from the time I started working on Flow over 3 years ago. We have the ability now to actually add a section inside the builder to provide a screen with a layout that isn't just a single column, as you can see right here in this particular slide. So sign up for the pilot if you're interested. If you want to learn more about these really fancy layouts, you should definitely go to the Flow Special Release Readiness Live, where we'll be talking more about that in depth.
Phew, I'm a little bit out of breath watching myself talk, but we can't stop now. There's even more. So I'm going to hand it over to my man in Botville, Bhaskar.
Thanks, Jason. I'm Bhaskar Gar, your bot guide for Winter 21. I'm excited to share one of the new features we're launching called the Bot Starter Template to help get you up and running with bots fast. Before I jump in, I want to talk about why you'd use bots in the first place. As an admin, you can use bots to automate engagement with your customers across the channels that they prefer. But without automation, your connections with your customers become impossible to scale. Automation is becoming even more important in these times we're in. Companies are getting an influx of requests from their customers and prospects, and bots helps manage these requests in a scalable way. Now, instead of routing all of your customer requests to human agents on your team, you can automatically resolve the most common issues by configuring a bot to provide the optimal responses. In the case where you need to route a request to an agent, you can configure the bot to collect the customer's information so your agents have context going into the conversation. And beyond just sending messages, you can configure the bot to automatically trigger your existing business processes, like those to create records or send emails, based on what your customers are saying to the bot. And finally, you can use your existing customer service data to train natural language understanding models to more intelligently respond to your customers. But all of this bot configuration takes a lot of time and energy. And as Salesforce admins, I know you've got a ton on your plate. And that's where templates come in to simplify the process. In Winter 21, we've created a starter template to jumpstart your journey towards configuring a bot that you can deploy live to your customers. Now, instead of starting from scratch, you can start from a working example that's deployed in under a minute. Also, you can use the template to learn best practices in bot setup and conversation design in a hands-on way. And lastly, you can build on the common use cases we provide for sales and service, like lead qualification and issue reporting, and customize them for your business. All right, enough talking. Let's jump in and check it out. So here I am in the Einstein bot setup page. This is where my bot building journey begins. Now let's say I'm an admin and my agents have been complaining that they're spending a lot of time gathering info from customers and manually creating cases where they don't have to. So I want to build a bot for my organization that helps solve their problem. This bot is going to automatically create cases and allow my customers to look up their status of their existing cases without getting an agent involved. So I start by clicking New to create a new bot. And now I see a brand new option in Winter 21 to start from a template instead of starting from scratch. I want to get up and running as fast as possible, so I go ahead and select the template option. Now I can personalize my bot by giving it a name. You can see that the name I chose is used in the greeting message the bot is going to send to the end user. I can also select the language for the bot, which I'll keep as English for now, but we actually support 14 different languages for bot conversations. Next, I'll configure the use cases I want my bot to handle. These use cases correspond to the initial menu items my bot will present to my users. I can select and deselect use cases, and menu items will update automatically, as you can see here on the left. I'm going to leave all of the use cases selected for now. I see that the ones I want are included, which are report an issue and check the status of an existing issue. To preview my bot, I need to link it to an existing embedded service deployment, which is configured separately. Luckily, I've already got one set up, so I'll go ahead and select it. And now, just like that, I'm ready to deploy my bot. As soon as I hit proceed, the bot building process kicks off behind the scenes. As you can see, a lot of stuff is happening. Now, when I click finish, it's going to take me to the bot that was just built. Let's give it a couple seconds. And boom, my bot has been created. I just saved all the time it would take to build this bot from scratch. With a few more clicks, I can start previewing the actual conversation my customers will see when they're interacting with the bot. At the same time, I can see the underlying configuration here on the left that produces the conversational experience I'm seeing in the bot preview. You can see the welcome greeting that the bot sends me matches the bot message on the left. Also, the menu items I see match the menu items that are configured in the main menu dialog. So now I'm going to assume the role of a customer that's having login issues and goes to my site to report the issues by interacting with my bot. So I just tried logging into my account, and yet again, my password doesn't seem to be working anymore. I'm going to select the report an issue menu item so I can get someone to take a look. The bot asked me to describe the issue I'm having, so I oblige. My password isn't working anymore. And now I'm asked a series of questions about myself that will be used to give context for the issue. I give a first name and a last name, my email address, my phone number, and of course, Alan Turing's phone number is a Fibonacci sequence. And lastly, my company name. So now I see that the bot has automatically created a case on my behalf and given me a case number that I can reference. All of that info I just provided was mapped to case fields in Salesforce, and the bot used a pre-configured standard flow that comes with a template bot to create the case. Now let's say I come back to the bot and I want to look up the issue I just reported and add some additional details. So this time around, I select the Check the status of an existing issue option in the main menu. It asks me if I have a case number, and in this case I do, so I'll go ahead and paste it in. And now it just asks me to verify my email. And here I can see the case I just created for the login issues. The bot reports that the case is still new, so I know an agent hasn't picked it up yet. Now I want to add some additional details to the case. So it turns out my password just randomly started working again. Funny how passwords do that sometimes. The bot invokes another standard flow that adds the comment I just typed into the case. At this point, I'm satisfied, so I can go ahead and end the chat. So if I navigate over to my recent cases and refresh, I can see the case that the bot just created on my behalf. If I drill in further, I can see that the case comment I typed in got added to the case feed, so the agent knows to close out this issue. So to summarize, in minutes, I've just built a bot that can automatically intake customer issues, perform lookups, and update issues without getting any agents involved. We're looking forward to getting your feedback as you try out this feature in Winter 21, and can't wait to see the awesome ways you customize this template to handle new use cases for your business.
Now, let's continue the fun with James and Marwan to take us to anywhere. James and Marwan, it's all yours.
Hey, thanks, Bhaskar. I'm James Harrison, a product manager.
And I'm Marwan Hadeh, product manager. And we're here to talk about Salesforce Anywhere.
Marwan, do you want to get us started?
Salesforce Anywhere is a brand new way to experience Salesforce. With Anywhere, you can stay up to speed on changes to your data in Salesforce by subscribing to alerts both on mobile as well as on desktop. Furthermore, you can collaborate with your team by messaging and sharing with chat, voice, and video embedded into your processes. And lastly, you can take action in the moment by viewing all of your record history and discovering suggested actions based on your personal usage of Salesforce. Let's see the demo. Today, we'll show you how you can use Salesforce Anywhere to superpower your sales teams with a new way to use Salesforce. Anywhere will push you the information you need to know about deals in real time so you and your team can make decisions and take action instantly based on the most up-to-date information. This will result in accelerated deal cycles and more accurate forecasts as teams can now stay constantly aligned from anywhere on the deals they care about most because data gets pushed to them in real time instead of having to go hunt it down in Salesforce. Let's show you how. Let's start from the perspective of a sales leader on the go. You can't see this yet, but on my desktop, I'll be playing the persona of an account executive, and I'm updating the close date of a fast-moving opportunity right now. Now, the moment that change happens, I get a Salesforce Anywhere alert. As a sales leader, this means I'm constantly on top of all the deals I care about most. Let's click in. My team and I use these alerts to stay focused on the hottest and fastest moving deals to drive immediate action and eliminate drag in our deal cycles. As we all know, time kills all deals and speed is truly the name of the game. The best thing about alerts is that this is something I can set up myself. I don't have to wait for an admin or someone in BizOps to go in and set it up for me. For example, in this case, I've created a subscription that notifies me whenever there are changes to two key accounts, Anico Limited and Ohana Insurance. I can choose to get notified whenever there are changes to the total sales amount or for changes to related objects like cases and opportunities. In this case, I'll get notified whenever related opportunities are added or removed for either of these accounts, or if the amount changes for any related opportunities, or if the close date is changed by at least 30 days. Let's use this real-time update to drive immediate action. I'll send this alert to the account team and ask if there's anything I can do to help. My team receives the message I entered, the alert that gave me concern, and the underlying record as an attachment. Clicking on the record allows me to see information about it, like the amount, close date, and probability. If I want, I can make quick edits to this opportunity directly from this screen. Something to note, each member of my group only sees the records and fields they have access to based on their Salesforce permissions. Within this conversation, anyone can respond by including pictures, sending emojis, attaching Salesforce records, or at mentioning team members. With Anywhere, you can also search for records and take quick actions. For example, here I'm searching for van, and I see all of the related records that match my search query, including opportunities, accounts, etc. I can also use Anywhere to take action on my data in Salesforce. For example, I can quickly log a call, create a new task, or make rapid single field updates. The suggestions you see here for description and next step are personalized based on my usage of Salesforce. I'll go ahead and click Update Next Step on Opportunity, select the Anico opportunity, and change the next steps to reflect my offer to help. Now, let's pivot over to our account executive, James.
I've been working on some new leads in Lightning on desktop when I see Marwan has sent me a new message. You'll see I get a notification in the top right corner here. And when I open my inbox, you can see I have access to all of my conversations in group chats right here in Lightning. I even have access to my own set of alerts right here so I can stay up to date wherever I go. I can click here to open Marwan's message and see what we can do to move this deal forward. Let's click in to see what's going on. Notice how it brings me right to the opportunity Marwan was alerted on. From here, and from any record page, I have new options to do the same thing right back to Marwan. I can share it in chat, or even hover over the owner of this record and click to message them back in return. And notice, as we move around Lightning, our chat stays with us so we can find the information we need to respond and get back to my manager. I'll respond to Marwan and we can move this thing forward. But now let's see how we can extend this thing and configure it as admins. Salesforce Anywhere is super quick and easy to set up. Just one switch here, and then 2 permission sets, one for mobile access and one for Lightning access, and we're done. This is a quick way to give all your users access to Anywhere chat, alerts, and the mobile app. But if you want to explore how you can extend this further, you can take a look at our invocable actions available in Flow. Here in Flow, I'm using a couple of our available invocable actions to create a new group chat and post a message in it for all our users. You can see in this case, I'm messaging these users in the case of an escalated customer service issue. I can pull in the right people into a group and notify them with the right information from the flow to get them started on resolving their customer's issue. And you can see here, it shows up right in Lightning or it would in the Anywhere app on the go. So the last step here is how do you get enabled for the Salesforce Anywhere app? Let's hop back to the slides to learn more about that. There are a few things you can do today to get started with Salesforce Anywhere. First off, you need to turn it on in your org, same as I did here. There's a great blog you can follow along with to do this. But if you don't have access to Salesforce Anywhere in the setup of your org, you can just sign up for the beta using this link at the bottom of the slide here. Secondly, once you're set up, you should download the Salesforce Anywhere app on iOS right from the App Store. Finally, join us and get in touch on the Trailblazer community in our Salesforce Anywhere group.
That's great, James. And that's how you can enable your users to collaborate from anywhere.
We hope you're all inspired to bring Salesforce Anywhere to your users. And I know Jillian thinks Salesforce Anywhere is really cool. Right, Jillian?
James, Marwan, Salesforce Anywhere is amazing, but you know what? There's a lot more. I'm Jillian Bruce, Principal Admin Evangelist at Salesforce, coming to you from my Salesforce swag basement, and I'm here to share even some more amazing highlights of the Winter 21 release with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, we do have so much to get through. I'm going to start off with productivity features for your Salesforce users. First of all, Einstein search personalization is now GA. This is a way that you're going to enable all your users to get what they need to see
very quickly without having to do a lot of searching. Because guess what? It's smart. It's powered by Einstein. I'm going to show you in the demo I'm going to do in a minute about how to enable that. It's really easy, and I highly recommend you enable it because it's going to make your users so much happier. Your users are also going to love some of the enhancements that are coming with reports and dashboards this release. So last release, we saw Mark Baseman, my fellow admin evangelist, demo the report description attachment feature. Well, now that is GA, so all your users can use it. I know it's going to make a lot of people very happy. We also have auto add fields. This is really great. It's going to save you a lot of time. This is a beta feature, so please test it out, try it out, let us know what you think. Lightning email. Now, I know if your users use Lightning email, it is a very key productivity tool for them. Well, it's going to be even more powerful because now you have availability scheduler built in. This means that your users will be able to schedule meetings with their customers, with their contacts much easier because you can actually find available times and schedule those meetings within the Lightning email experience. Very awesome. You can also schedule list emails so that emails will go out whenever the users want them to, not necessarily having that point in time. Also, some amazing enhancements to the mobile experience. So your users are going to love this because things like report highlights, I mean, look at the screenshot I put there on the slide, right? It's a way for them to quickly get the information they need without having to scroll through that report. So really great enhancements. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these admin features though, because let me tell you, admins, this release, this should just be called like the admin release because there's so much here. I could not even fit everything I wanted to on the slide, so I had to pick and choose. I know there's more, so please make sure you read the release notes, but here are some of my top things for you that we haven't already covered. Dynamic forms and actions. Amazing. We talked about them a lot last release. Now they are GA for custom objects. They're also in beta for several standard objects. I'll talk about that in the demo in just a second. Lightning performance analysis. This is so cool. This is a way that you can click a button within the Lightning App Builder and it will tell you how well that specific record page you're working on performs based on the components on that page. It is awesome. It also gives you recommendations on how to improve that performance. So I'm going to show you that as well because I have to, because it's super cool. Optimizer has also gotten some enhancements. Now, last release, we talked a lot about it because it became an in-app, beautiful, seamless experience. Well, now you can schedule it to automatically run, which is pretty awesome. There's also additional metrics, and now you can track history over time of specific metrics to see, like, for example, how your file storage is doing over time. Now, security is super important for admins. We've been talking about it a lot on the podcast lately. If you haven't listened, every Thursday, the Salesforce Admins podcast. MFA or multi-factor authentication is very important, and it's much easier to enable now that you have an assistant built in to Salesforce to help you figure out how to best roll that out and set it up. Notification Builder, also some great updates there. Custom navigation targets. You can now launch it from Apex. Great way, again, to reach your users where they are, to let them know what they need to know when they need to know it. Service Setup Assistant, again, a way to help you quickly set up your service experience with guidance from Salesforce. So I know these days a lot of us are moving real fast and trying to respond to changing times. This is super important because this will help you and guide you to quickly getting set up with our amazing service products. Einstein lead and opportunity scoring. We have that. It's great. Again, another way to bring intelligence into your user's experience. And this is going to be so cool. This is a beta feature, but I know all admins are going to be so excited about this. Wouldn't it be great if you could do Trailhead learning, but actually in your own app? Well, it's coming. So this is a beta feature. It's really exciting. I can't wait to see where this goes. Okay, but enough talking about that. Let's get into a demo. All right, so let's dig into some of my favorite Winter 21 highlights for admins. First, we're going to start out with dynamic actions. Now, we talked a lot about dynamic forms and actions the last release because it was super exciting and new. Well, great news is they are now GA for custom objects and, in fact, in beta for accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, and cases. Here we are in my custom object projects here. I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these records to show you dynamic actions in action. So in this project record here, you can see we have some statuses here. We even got a fun picture of a goat because, hey, why not? I want to edit this page to make it really easy for my users to add a task to a project while it's in progress. And the easiest way for my users to do that would be if there was a pretty little button up here at the top in the highlights panel. Well, let's go ahead and open the Lightning App Builder here so that I can add that button to the highlights panel. Here we are in our Lightning App Builder. You can see our canvas with our familiar standard components. And I'm going to click the highlights panel here, and I'm going to click this Add Action button. Now, this is great because I can add any existing action. I can also add actions that I have built. There's a migration wizard that'll help you actually do that. Now, here's where the dynamic piece comes in. I can add a filter so that I can have this action only display when, let's say, this project status is equal to in progress, because it doesn't make sense to add a new task if the project's completed or canceled. So I'm going to put that filter on there and save it. And now what this means is that new task, that action at the top of the highlights panel, is only going to appear when the project is actually in progress. So it's looking at the data on the record page and displaying that action button when it's appropriate. As you can see, I got that new task button up there. Well, let's say I've completed this project. I'm going to change the status up here in my path, mark it as complete. And you'll see that new task button is going to disappear in the highlights panel. And that is the dynamic actions in action for Winter 21 release. Super powerful. But wait, there's more. Let's get back into the Lightning App Builder here to show you one of my favorite new features in the Winter 21 release that I think all admins are going to love. Here we are back in our Lightning App Builder. We have a new button up here at the upper right called Analyze. This is the Lightning Performance Analysis. This button will check the performance of your Lightning page. It'll let you know based on your metadata, based on the fields and the instances of the related list component, how well your page performs. All of those are factors that go into Lightning page performance. So pretty cool to have that right there in the Lightning App Builder. This page looks pretty good. It's pretty simple, but let's pull up a page that might be a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this case record page here. This is a standard pre-release developer edition org, so you can do this too. When I click this Analyze button now, you'll see I'll get a moderate rating, as well as some recommendations on how to improve the performance of this page, like looking at related lists, even the direct links to where I need to go and set up to adjust those related list components. Pretty awesome, right? I mean, this is pretty amazing. All of us want to improve the performance of our Lightning pages for our users. Here we go. One of the best new admin tools in Winter 21. Okay, but there's another part of setup in Lightning that I love. It's amazing. It's our object manager in setup. The one place where you can see all of your objects, custom or standard. Let's go ahead and click into this because there's something new here I know all admins are going to be pretty excited about. Here we are in my custom project object. Now, one of the things that I know a lot of us have had to do in the past is make that unfortunate switch to Classic to manage deleted fields. Well, guess what? We don't have to do that anymore. Let me show you this in action. So I have this, a checkbox. Nobody likes a checkbox field. I'm going to remove this, delete this field right here in Lightning. It's going to disappear from my list. And then where do I find it? Well, I can just click this very beautiful button here called Deleted Fields, and it takes me to the list of all the fields that I've deleted on this object with who deleted it, when it was deleted, and gives me the ability to either permanently erase it or undelete it. Ta-da! I know we're getting clappies. I can hear them. It's amazing. I know we're super excited about this. Now, let's also check out some of the enhancements made to Optimizer with this release. Optimizer, we talked about it again, lots about last release because we delivered this smooth in-app experience. Well, now we have even more things to make Optimizer awesome for you, including getting rid of maybe that monthly calendar date you had in there to spend some time with Optimizer, schedule it to run. Well, guess what? Now we can select a drop-down menu here to have it run monthly automatically, which is so great. This is a way to get trending data over time for how your org is performing, tracking different metrics. Let's go ahead and open Optimizer because there's also some new metrics in this release that you can now track. One of those is profile assignments. One of the biggest jobs that we have as admins is managing all the profiles, and now we have a very easy place here to see how many profiles we have, how many people are assigned to them, and even some recommendations from Optimizer of how to perhaps improve this a little bit to help our org function more efficiently. So The other new metrics in Optimizer you can now track are things like data storage limit and file storage limits over time, trending data, as well as new metrics like sharing rules for external users. So make sure to get to know Optimizer if you haven't spent time with it. Schedule that monthly run, make it part of your standard practices. Now, one last thing I'm going to show you before we kind of wrap up here is Einstein Search. So Einstein Search is awesome. It helps your users find what they need very, very quick because it uses the power of Einstein to deliver the results they need. Now, there are 3 simple steps to enable Einstein Search for your org. 1, 2, 3, checkboxes, click save, boom, Einstein Search is enabled. Now, what's great too is with Winter 21, personalization is now generally available for all your users. So again, it's going to help them find the information they need the quickest possible. That's what we're all about as admins, helping our users be more efficient and delivering a great experience. Whew! Well, I know Cloudy's excited about all that. There's a lot in there for admins. I bet you all have questions. So I'm going to go and hand it back to you, Ella, to take us home.
Thank you so much, Jillian. I'm so excited about all of these new features. And to our panelists, wow, those were some amazing demos. Now, before we get to the Q&A, just a quick note, if you want to dive into these highlights a little bit more today, please check out sforce.co/learn-more. With that, let's bring all of our panelists back together and we will get started with the Q&A. I hope you've all been taking note of all of the new innovation that's coming to you with this release, and we really appreciate you sharing your questions in the community and on Twitter. I'm ready to get started. I know you all are too, so I'm going to pass it to Rachel, and she's going to give us a quick reminder about how we're doing Q&A.
Hey, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining us this morning for the Admin Preview Live. We're so excited that you're here. I've been seeing you on Twitter. I've been seeing you in the Trailblazer community. You have some great questions and tons of excitement. Just so you know, if you're tuning in late and you want to ask your questions, you want to jump in here on the fun. On Twitter is where we're sharing really fun, quick things like GIFs and short questions. Trailblazer community is where we get into those deeper, meatier questions. So we're going to be pulling from both, and I have some awesome stuff to kick this off with. Who is ready? I think, Aubrey, you look ready. You want the first question?
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, fantastic. So our first question is, can builder emails be used in HVS?
Yes, they can. You can definitely use builder email templates in your HVS cadences, and we're really excited about that. So yes, you can.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Okay, next up, we're going to jump over to Jason. Jason, where are you at?
Right here. How's it?
Hey. So our next question is, you mentioned that delete triggers. What about undelete triggers?
That's a good question. So basically, we introduced delete triggers. I mentioned with the idea exchange points and whatnot for that. One of the questions that did come up is like, well, you're going to be able to trigger on delete. What about triggering on undelete? And so that is sort of a roadmap item for us. It's actually created, just so you guys know, a bunch of debate in the product management team, kind of like, well, it makes sense that you do undelete, if you're going to be able to do delete. But it's unclear to us, how sort of valuable that feature would be. Like, is undelete something you would typically have to do manually anyway, or is it something you're doing all the time, like the recycle bin? So you want to be able to trigger off it all the time and actually build out a flow to do something like that. So that's a great opportunity to sort of sound off in the Trailblazer community for Salesforce automation, and let us know what do you think in terms of being able to provide undelete.
Amazing, thanks. Our next question is going to go to Bhaskar. What use cases can the template bot handle?
Hey, I can handle that. Great question. So currently we focus on sales and service use cases. So we help you with creating cases, with reading cases, with adding case comments and creating leads. And there's definitely plans to expand that, and you're able to customize the template bot for your own use case as well, based on the one we ship.
Okay, thanks for that. We're going to keep rolling right along, and this one looks like it's for either James or Marwan, whichever one of you wants to jump on this. We have, how can we get involved with the beta of Salesforce Anywhere?
Yeah, maybe I'll take that one if Marwan, you don't mind. So yeah, we'd love We'd love for everyone to get involved with the beta of Salesforce Anywhere. As a beta product, sign up is a little different than a normal Salesforce product. Some customers can actually do this right away automatically on their own. So this would just be available in your org. If you go into the setup section, you might have already seen that Salesforce Anywhere just kind of magically showed up there for you, and you can turn it on. If you don't see that, which is the case for a large set of customers as well, there's two ways you can still get access. You can go to our website, on salesforce.com, and go to the Salesforce Anywhere section, and there's a web form to request access, or you can talk to your Salesforce account executive, and basically they can manually get you enabled for the beta.
That sounds exciting. Very cool. Thank you so much. So looks like if we are going back to Twitter, we have some questions here for Aubrey. Aubrey, I'm going to throw 2 or 3 at you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good. Awesome.
So the first one I've got here is from the Columbus, Ohio user group, and Randy Thompson asking, is the new Lightning email template available to be sent from a process builder rule, or is it still only classic email templates?
Really awesome question. As I touched on in the roadmap slide that we had after the demo, that's one of the biggest use cases that we're focusing on next in the next release, keeping Safe Harbor in mind. But we know our admins have been asking for Lightning email templates, and now these new builder templates to be available for use in things like process builders and flows and email alerts. So that's really where we're shifting our focus on for the next release. So at the current GA moment, no, but hopefully it's going to be a super fast follow for the next release.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So our next one for you comes from Strexler Harup, and they're on Twitter as well. And they asked, will new email template builder have the ability to add an unsubscribe link?
Good question. So if you, I don't know if your sales service or Pardot or what licenses you have. If you are a Pardot account, you definitely do have the ability to add in the unsubscribe link and the email preference center that are actually required in emails sent out from Pardot. For sales and service, if you sort of have a merge field that works similarly to an unsubscribe link, or if you take them to a certain link that you already have pre-set up, as long as it's a merge field available on the record home of the linked record that you're using, you should be able to insert that as well. But in Pardot, definitely we have those unsubscribe and email preference center links automatically in there for you.
Wow, great answer. Thank you so much. We'll give you a break for a second, and don't worry, there's still a lot more for you. We've got some for James or Marwan. Over here, we have Squire asking, will Salesforce Anywhere allow for similar notification types for other standard custom objects?
I can take that one. The answer is yes. We will be supporting custom objects as well, just like we support standard objects like opportunities, cases, accounts. So resoundingly, yes.
Fantastic. And hey, Jillian did a quick costume change, and she has on a cool hat, and I've got a question for her.
Bring it on. It's winter. I'm getting ready. You know, it's getting cold outside.
Got to be ready. So we have, is the in-app training with Trailhead different from My Trailhead, or just a renaming of the product? And that's from Randy Thompson on Twitter.
So Randy, I am not a My Trailhead product expert, but I will tell you that My Trailhead is still My Trailhead. It's a way for you to create custom learning for your company. The in-app learning with Trailhead is actually a way to bring that into your own application experience. So imagine instead of doing it in a Trailhead environment, you're doing the module in your own org, which is really cool. And talk about a way to really enable your users, right? I mean, I'm excited about it. Future looks pretty bright for me. I think I need to put on my ski goggles.
Thanks, Jillian. That was awesome. Don't hit the slopes without us, okay?
I won't, I promise.
Great. So, like I promised, Aubrey, we have a few more questions for you that I want to hit. This one comes from Andy Haas on the Trailblazer community. And they ask, is there a way to migrate classic email templates to Lightning email templates?
Hey, Andy, that's a really great question. Currently, no, there is not a really easy way to do that. But we definitely have a lot of our trailblazers who have already went through the same processes, and they might have some advice or some fast workarounds for you. So I would really suggest tapping into the Trailblazer community to see if anyone has some really good advice, or if not, you can also shoot me an email and I'd be happy to try to connect you with some other customers who have gone through the same classic to Lightning transformation.
Awesome. Okay, hope you caught that, Andy. That was a great answer. Thanks again to Aubrey. I'm going to go to Bhaskar. We have a question here that says, what are the requirements for using the template bot? Can we talk about those a little bit?
Sure. First, you need to have bots, and there's two ways you can get bots today: through the digital engagement SKU or the Service Cloud Unlimited Edition. And after that, you need to have chat enabled in your org. So that is a prerequisite. And you need to be a system administrator in your org as well, and then be able to use the template.
Okay, thank you so much. Going over to Jason. So Jason, debug is really cool. So what's next on the gifts that keep on giving list?
Great question. We've just got so much in our roadmap for debug. It's really a question of like, what will we be showing up with next? And what I'm hoping for in our next release is the ability to actually go beyond just to sort of run the debug as you see it on the screen to, imagine for a second, you would often want to debug or troubleshoot an error that you actually have. And so a lot of people are familiar with the flow error emails you get. Well, picture for a second the ability to click on a flow error email and go straight to the debug for that particular flow and then see actually where the error actually happened. So as you can imagine, there's a fair number of moving parts to be able to create something like that. But, fingers crossed, forward-looking statement and all of that, hopefully in the next release or two, we'll be able to deliver something like that. But you can kind of see we've been building up to that one of those high points as we've been going along.
Okay, fantastic. So I've got another one. You want to keep going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so let's talk about when you should use Flow versus when you should use other tools. We've seen a couple of questions around this, and people are interested in, how do they choose which is the right tool to be using at the right time?
Sure, another great question. I know we've got, workflow rules, we've got process builder, we've got Flow. Flow's doing a lot more now. Just from a strategic perspective, from a product strategy perspective, we're really responding to a lot of the community comments that we have heard over the years of, I really would like to just have a one builder kind of experience. Like I don't want to keep switching around, even if I use this or that. And so that's really the trajectory we're going with. And the answer to the question is basically Flow, right? Our one builder is going to be Flow. We're investing a lot in Flow to make that the builder of choice. Now, that being said, of course, as you can see, we're moving along here. We keep adding things, to Flow to make it better, and we're moving functionality that may exist in workflow rules or process builder, into Flow to continue making it better. So when you look to select a tool, my suggestion is, try it with Flow. Do it with Flow. Now, there's obvious gaps. We may talk about a couple of those. We are filling those gaps kind of as we go, as we can. And so if there is a gap, then by all means, you should use Process Builder. And by the way, none of these tools are like going away. When we actually get to that point where we think Flow really is where it needs to be, everybody loves it, then we'll consider things like migration and things like that. But generally speaking, if you have a choice and you can do it, you should definitely use Flow.
Okay, thanks so much. That's a really great answer. And I'm sure a lot of people out there are wondering, and now they're excited to get their hands on those tools and really test out how that all works. Hey, so if Jillian hasn't hit the slopes yet, I've got another one for her.
Bring it on, I'm ready.
There you are. So we have, are dynamic forms a replacement for page layouts?
So this is a great question because, page layouts have been the way that admins customize those experiences for your users based on what they have to do every day, right? Well, imagine dynamic forms and actions as a way to kind of get even more granular with that. So I envision personally, if I was an admin, I would definitely weigh more heavily on the dynamic forms and actions because they're way more flexible than creating a zillion different page layouts. You can still use page layouts as much as you want. I think they are definitely useful for specific use cases, but play around with dynamic forms and actions because they let you do a lot more without having to create hundreds of different page layouts, right? So have at it, have fun. They're dynamic, they're amazing. Why not use them?
That's great. They are pretty amazing. Going back to the James Moran team here, we have another question from Randy on Twitter asking, the Salesforce Anywhere chat seems like a chatter experience. The collaboration isn't being associated with an actual record. How does Salesforce see chat integrating with chatter use?
Yeah, I can take that one, Marwan, if you don't mind. So really, I think they serve distinct purposes, right? So chat from Salesforce Anywhere is intended to be a private way to collaborate, either one-on-one or with a group. And chatter tends to be, like you mentioned, Randy, tends to be on the record, right? So it's a great way to collaborate and kind of keep a source of truth for what actually happened, let's say on a case. For chats, you can still reference records and you can actually view, by record, what chats you've actually had about that record. But it is really meant to be a different type of collaboration model for that more private use case where you want to keep the conversation separate.
Okay, thanks so much. What else do we have here? Oh, I've got a good one from Sarah Pilzer over on Twitter. And this question is for the bots. So great Einstein bot use case example on Salesforce Live. Does anyone know if bots are an add-on product or if we already have access to them via enterprise?
I can take that one. I think I touched on this in a previous answer, but they're not included with the base enterprise edition. So you'll need the Service Cloud UE or digital engagement. So if you have either of those, you should have bots with those.
Cool, thank you so much. And then let's go back to Aubrey, circle back around here. We have a question from Jordan Vasquez on Trailblazer community asking, is there a way to allow our non-admin users to build email? And would this be a permission that can be applied to users? Also, are there any special licenses that are required for this?
Hey, Jordan, thanks for your question. So this user permission, which is the access drag and drop content builder user permission, can be signed to anyone with the full CRM user license. So it doesn't just have to be system admins. You can assign it to anyone with that user license. So that's really awesome. And what was the second part of that question?
Sure. So we covered if are there any special licenses that are required? And
special licenses.
Yeah.
No special licenses. So yeah, no, it should come straight out of the box once your new org is on 228. You should see the permission show up.
Amazing. Okay, nice and simple. We've got another one for you here, Aubrey. Asking, can we use the new emails built by the email template builder in emails sent by workflow or approval processes? And that's from Marcel on the Trailblazer community.
Hot question. We had that one earlier, so the answer is the same. Not yet in the GA release of the email template builder, but it is on our roadmap to tackle for the next release, keeping Safe Harbor in mind. So can't wait to work with Jason Teller on getting all that good stuff into flow.
Cool. Jason, you looked excited to work on that too. So.
We're definitely excited to work on that with you. We do get those questions about emails as well, kind of from a different direction. And it's very exciting to be able to do that rich content. So yeah, let's definitely talk more, Audrey.
Cool. Well, while we have you, Jason, I've got a couple more questions here. This one is from Kotai on Twitter asking, can you build flow triggers on objects like opportunity line item schedules?
That's a good question. I'm not familiar with opportunity line item schedules as a specific object. In general, for flow triggers, if you're doing a before save or an after save trigger in flow, it would follow the same level of support that you would see with both workflow rules as well as process builder. So that means that basically the object would need to be enabled for the trigger to actually work, which is something for standard objects that a Salesforce development team would then enable for that object. So that's the general answer to the question. If it's not something that you can trigger off of, you see in the list, then it's probably because it would need to be enabled to do that. So that's something that you could either ask on the Trailblazers community or to the team. And obviously, sometimes that's difficult to find out who it is. That's good to ask on the community, and we can see if that's something that can be added.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jason. This next one is for Bhaskar. Can I customize the template bot for my business?
Yes, the nice thing about the template bot is it's just like any other bot. It's just a bot that's pre-configured for you that you can customize with some of those lightning screens in the beginning. So once that template bot is deployed, it's yours to do whatever you'd like with it. So you can take our existing use cases for, say, like replacing a web to lead form or a web to case form that you have with a bot, and you can build on those. You can get ask more questions to the users to get more information. You can add authentication to your bot, and you can expand the use cases as well. So it's really up to you, and it's your playground once the bot's deployed.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much. Looks like Akalash on Twitter wants to talk a little bit more about Salesforce Anywhere. So his question is, can we expect Salesforce Anywhere being open to Community Cloud so we can make communication in Salesforce more live like other communication tools?
Yeah, I can take that one. That's a great question. So support for Community Cloud is something that we're thinking about supporting in the future, but not something that we've prioritized currently. So great feedback. Definitely something that we want to hear more about through the Salesforce Anywhere community groups. So definitely go to Trailblazer community and let us know more about your thoughts. But something that's definitely top of mind for us.
Okay, thanks. And while we're talking about this, let's talk more about the Salesforce Anywhere app. And is it different from the normal Salesforce app? As a user, would you need both?
That's a good question as well. I'll just take this one too, James. So currently it's a different app. There's the Salesforce app and there's a Salesforce Anywhere app. In the future, we are planning to have one single app. One sort of difference in philosophy currently is that with Anywhere, our goal is to personalize it based on your usage of Salesforce, rather than necessarily having an administrator configure it first and then deploy it out to you. But our long-term goal is to have one single app which merges the functionality of both apps.
Marwan, that's great. Thank you so much. Jillian's got some excitement, some love.
Cloudy's excited. I'm excited. Anywhere is so cool. Admins, I swear, you got to check it out because it literally, I mean, it's a game changer. Collaboration wise, do it. Just trust me. Do it.
You heard her. You should trust her.
I mean, who doesn't trust somebody who wears a ski hat and ski goggles in their basement and puts on mittens because it's winter release?
Jillian, we love that you're always bringing the fun, and you've got a ton of knowledge on everything awesome admin. So while we have you, I've got one more for you as we're kind of getting down into our final few minutes here of the broadcast. So one more for Jillian, and then I've got, I think, one more for everybody else. So Jillian, this is from Dave on the Trailblazer community. He says, yowza, that was a lot of goodness. Can you confirm that I no longer need to assign a permission set to allow users to use Einstein search? I just tick off those 3 checkboxes and set up.
Well, hi, Dave. How you doing? It's nice to hear from you. So I have my little buddy Einstein here because Einstein Search is, again, like I said, one of the admin favorite tools because it helps your users get their job done faster. And you are correct. With those 3 checkboxes that you saw checked off, your users will now be able to get personalization with Einstein Search. In fact, it's just that first checkbox really that enables personalization, which is now GA with Winter 21, which is super exciting. But yeah, it's a lot easier. They got feedback that it was a little difficult to enable Einstein Search. So this is now your tool to make that easier and quicker for your users. So you can give Einstein to everyone. It's very hard to pick things up with mittens, by the way. So everyone can have Einstein love.
That's amazing, Jillian. Thank you so much. I hope we get one last shot of you in your ski gear before we head out of here.
I'm gonna start sweating really soon, so.
All right, let's go to our last question for Aubrey. We have Andreas on the Trailblazer community asking, is there a way to create multilingual mail templates based on something like a contact field, as in the VF templates?
Really great question. Thank you for that. Currently, right now, Lightning email templates, if you wanted to create one in French and one in English, you would have to do 2 separate templates for that. Right now, you couldn't just use the same one and translate it. That is really great feedback. That's something that we've heard a few times before, but I would love to hear more about your use case and your requirements and how you think that would look. So I would love it if you took that to Trailblazer community so we could talk a little bit more about that. It's definitely something that's on our long-term roadmap, but something we haven't completely fleshed out yet. So we'd love to hear more of your feedback on that.
And Aubrey, that's a great point. So thanks for bringing that up. These questions that have been asked on both the Trailblazer community and on Twitter, if we didn't get to them today during the live broadcast, we will have everybody from the cast here going in and answering those questions or providing links, doing whatever they can. So if I don't get your question in the next minute or two, don't worry. We will still take it to the Trailblazer community or take it to Twitter and we will be in touch with you. So Aubrey, Andreas, you'll get a chance to connect over that. Last question for Jason. We have a question here that says, I'm building all these cool screen flows. How do I show their business value?
That's a great question. So we do get the question a fair amount. You know, I have these sort of processes running and, you know, how can I see that type of information? And we actually, in our previous release, have a report that actually shows you how long you spent on each screen and how often a particular screen flow or process ran. So you should definitely check that out. It's a report, which means it's available outside of setup, so you can actually show it. You know, as an admin, you can see what's going on, and then you can actually show it to, say, a business owner, somebody else in the organization, to really show them how the flow and how the process that you build is actually functioning. So definitely check that out when you get a chance, the screen flows report. And it's shipped out of the box.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
I think maybe Rachel have time for one more question before we wrap up.
Thanks, Ella. Okay, last question goes to James or Marwan. Talking about Salesforce Anywhere, just as this is something that's really hot and new and exciting, can we talk about how it relates to Chatter? I know we saw some questions on that before, but if you have any last thoughts to really clarify that for everyone, I think that would be helpful.
Cool. Well, I give a few thoughts on, you know, like how chat and Chatter relate. We could do a whole session on that. But Marwan, do you want to take it and, you know, put it in your words?
Sure. I think the one difference I'd call out between Chatter and conversations in Anywhere is to think about how we have these conversations. The idea behind Chatter and when it was built was that it was great for what we like to say more asynchronous conversations. You post something and then someone responds to you a little later, maybe in the day, maybe in the week when they have the time. They'll get an email, that'll take them into Lightning, they'll make their changes, they'll put their comments in, and then you take a look at it when you have the time. With Anywhere, we're actually trying to make things more synchronous, right? To reflect how we work today. Let's say you're working on an opportunity and you need help from a colleague. Well, the idea is that you can start a conversation, quickly get feedback from them, and then move on. Or, for example, let's say you need to hop on a call, directly from within that conversation, you can start up a call and then get in touch with your teammates. So really the idea is to help you have these synchronous conversations very quickly so that you can get the data that you need and then get your job done.
This is awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you to all of our panelists for joining us today and sharing all of the innovations that you're building on the platform. And thank you, Rachel, for managing Q&A today as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me be on here. That's been a pleasure to see you, and I'll be seeing everybody online.
Yeah, we're all super excited. So as Rachel mentioned, make sure if your questions have not been answered, they're in the Trailblazer community. And with that, if you would like to learn more about the highlights that we discussed today for admins for this release, you can go to sforce.co/learn-more. There you'll find trail mixes for admins and developers with all of the latest information for this Winter 21 release. Make sure to tune in on Monday. We'll be back with more Release Readiness Live. We're so excited to see what you do with the Winter 21 release, and we'll catch you next time in the cloud.